Welcome to Your Dollars Making Sense, a podcast hosted by investor and realtor Richard Neese. Your Dollars Making Sense, where financial intelligence is the key to your financial freedom.
Hey everybody, Richard Neese here with Your Dollars Making Sense. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Saturday morning. We appreciate it. I know we've had the first football games out recently, Thursday, Friday, Jamboree games, so all that stuff's kicking off. I hope everybody had a good time, was safe. Your Dollars Making Sense. If you haven't listened to us before, we believe that financial intelligence is the key to financial freedom. My name is Richard Neese. I'm a local real estate broker here. I'm out of Coleman. I work in North Alabama. I've experienced on the real estate side. We bought homes in foreclosure. We fixed and flipped. We bought apartments. We bought vacant land, built houses. And we've done a lot of stuff, but the show itself, Your Dollars Making Sense, isn't about just real estate. It's about investing. How can we build a foundation? How can we answer the questions that you have so that you're a better investor, you have that financial intelligence, you know what you're doing, and you make the best decision for you? That's what we want to do. I've been doing shows like this for a couple years now. We had a show called The Real Estate Rundown, which was specifically based on real estate. We brought vendors in to talk about home inspections, and we talked about lending and all that kind of stuff. But what I kept seeing over the past year, I'd say, is I keep getting people that call me and they want to take me to lunch. They want to ask me, pick my brain about investing in general. Most of the time it's real estate, but they want to know, how can I achieve financial freedom? And the first question I always ask them is, what is financial freedom? What's the long-term goal? You'll hear me say it over and over and over again, beating it like a dead horse. I mean, you've got to know where you're going first. What does retirement look like for you? And retirement may not even be the right word. What does an easier life, or having more stuff, or more influence, or being able to give to your church more, whatever that is, what is that goal? You've got to know that before you ever pick an investment avenue. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to go be a day trader tomorrow because I want to make $1 million, but I don't know what I want to do with that, that's not a great way to start. Having that baseline of, I've got a goal in place, now I've got to build up the knowledge. You've got to have the why to back it up. It's been over 4 years now. Last week I hit 4 years in real estate since I started. I realized that a deputy sheriff's salary, and only his salary, it's going to be really, really tough to support my family. At the time it was 2. We about had our third child. My son's birthday was about a week ago. I couldn't do it. I've got to figure out a way to invest in myself, which was last week's topic. If you haven't listened to that show, please listen to it. I think Ron Jr. is making it on the best of, because it talks about the biggest and best investment you can make is in yourself. You've got to invest in yourself. You've got to put time, energy, money, whatever that is. Educate yourself, learn, grow. If you're not learning and growing, then you're falling behind. People are passing you up right now. You're missing opportunities that are out there. So continue to learn, grow. It doesn't matter if you pick up a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, you're listening to a podcast by Gary Vaynerchuk, whoever it is, Grant Cardone, buying a personal coaching session, whatever that is, you've got to motivate and you've got to grow personally in order to achieve your goals. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad's book, Robert Kiyosaki talks about many different situations growing up and learning from his rich dad and his poor dad, two very different outlooks on life as far as money goes. And he picks up and evaluates based off of these two mindsets. But one thing that he talks about later on in life, when he was a famous author, he was talking to a lady that was a journalist, very smart, had written a book. She wasn't getting a whole lot of traction off the book. She was one of those scholars. And he told her, he said, you're one skill away from success. You've done so much already, but to achieve the level of success that you want, you're one skill away. Now, in her case, that skill was being able to relate and sell, being a salesperson, which is not a dirty word. I mean, we sell all the time. Whether we're a 17-year-old boy trying to pick up a girl, or we're trying to get donations for the church, you're selling something. That's not a bad word, and it shouldn't be used that way, but it's to influence, it's to connect with people in a way so that they build onto your cause. So are you one skill away? Are you 5 skills away? It doesn't matter what that number is. You've got to continue to push towards it. So that's you got to have a goal, and then you've got to start growing based off of that. One of the things that people see all the time on HGTV, they see it on Facebook when it's popping up about, hey, why don't you become a house flipper, a wholesaler, all these things. Those folks started with a book. They started with a podcast. They started with something that helped them start building up that financial intelligence, because that's the key in real estate. That's the key in investing as a whole. We have folks come on to talk about different avenues of investing, and they're experts in those fields. Make sure you're dealing with an expert in the field. We're talking about selling a few minutes ago. Selling is a skill, but make sure the person that's selling you a product believes in that product. And first off, are they using or doing that product? That's an important step. You have a lot of folks that are selling you insurance, they're selling you investments, and they're selling you 401ks and this or that. Why aren't they investing in it? Is that the best thing? That's something you really got to think about. It's hard to take positive advice from somebody that hasn't stepped into that role, hasn't been in that arena, doesn't know what they're doing. There's so many people selling things out there and making money off of you. They're making money off of you. They don't care after that sale what happens. I can honestly say that I'm not that way. I want to see you succeed. I want to help you. Honestly, sometimes I give too much. There's a good book called The Go Giver. If you're a reader, you should go out and listen to a read. I like to listen to it. It talks about adding value every way you can. It talks about your income is determined by how many people you help and how well you help them. So those are all so important things, such important things. But we're going to talk in particular about real estate investing today. We're going to talk about some of the benefits of buying single-family homes. We kind of skimmed on this before. We did a basic overview where we talked about commercial properties, residential properties, apartments, land, timber, all kinds of stuff like that. But it was so baseline, we really didn't get into the details on it. So I do want to talk about that. We also want to give a quick shout out to some of our sponsors, Cotton Home Inspections. Thank you guys for allowing us to do what we do, being able to support and provide. We appreciate all the hard work that Chris Cotton does for his clients. If you guys are looking to get a home inspection, make sure you reach out to Chris Cotton with Cotton Home Inspections. We also have a couple new sponsors. Boyles Tax Service. Christy Boyles does a great job. I personally use Christy. She protects the assets. She protects the investments that I'm making to make sure that my liability is limited. And to make sure that Uncle Sam and I are on good terms. That's always a good thing. There's lots of folks that say they never want to pay any taxes. I don't want to pay taxes. I don't have to pay, but I don't mind paying the ones that I'm supposed to pay. So with Christy Boyles with Boyles Tax Service, thank you so much for sponsoring us. We've got a few more sponsors we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but we really want to get into the meat and potatoes of this. We're coming up. I think we've got a couple minutes until the break. So what I'd like to do is discuss the benefits of single-family homes. What is a single-family home? So if you hear somebody say that, they're not talking about a duplex, they're not talking about a fourplex, they're talking about a house. House flipping is typically what the term is used. I'm going to find a house that's foreclosed, that's in distress, that's priced a little bit lower than the actual market value. I'm going to add some sweat equity, and we're going to make a profit by selling it on the other side. So there's good and bad with this. There's lots of people that make good money off of it, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 a pop. But there's also people that lose money because they don't have the foundation to understand the entire process. So the first thing I would recommend that you talk to somebody that's already doing it. Talk to somebody that's flipped a home before. Talk to somebody that's in the real estate business. That can be a real estate agent. If you want to give me a call, you can always call me at 256-708-1511. I can help you on the assessment side to see if this is a good fit for you. I can help you with a contract. We've got some great folks at Jacob Title, Jamie Blanton. She does some good work for us. She can provide contracts. Within the real estate sales side, we can do it that way if it's on the MLS or if it's not on the MLS. So there's so many ways that we can help you, but make sure you find somebody that's done it before. And typically, family is not a bad place to start. But don't let that be the only person you talk to, because most everybody has brother, cousin, uncle, whoever that has had a bad real estate deal. and has had a good real estate deal. So you got to be careful and make sure that you find somebody that's done it a couple times, they've seen the good and the bad, and somebody that you trust too. There's so many people out there that are afraid to share information, share knowledge, because somebody's going to snatch that deal from you. I've had it happen. I've had somebody go find I found a real estate deal. I was looking for some guidance. They actually ended up going and buying the property. But you know what? I wasn't mad about it. I wasn't prepared to do what I needed to do on that. When they bought the property, I watched and I picked their brain the entire time. And through that process, I learned so much more at a lower cost than if I would have done it myself. So that's something to consider. We're going to go through some other avenues as far as the single family side, some things to watch out for. This is a topic that everybody loves to hear about. Everybody they kind of drool over the idea of flipping a house. Oh my gosh, there's money to be made. I can be Chip and Joanna Gaines. I can do all this other stuff. There's good and there's bad to this. So I want to go through some of that stuff, make you guys feel a little bit more comfortable in doing it. Like I said, you can always give me a call, 256-708-1511. I can help you through that process if you want, or find somebody that you trust that can help you. There's lots of there's bankers and builders and so many people out there to help. We've got some good builders that we work with too. So we're coming up against a break. Like I said, make sure you guys tune in on the other side of the break because we're going to talk about more pros and cons of investing in single family homes and flipping them. Welcome back to Your Dollars Making Sense, where we believe that financial intelligence is the key to your financial freedom. What does that mean? Financial intelligence. It means that you know how money works. Today we're talking about real estate, which is my specialty, my expertise. I'm a broker for Weichert Realtors, the Space Place, here in North Alabama. But we're talking about finding deals. We're talking about the pros, the cons, the tax benefits, the tax liabilities, how we can minimize your risk, how you can help somebody through a deal so you can learn the process as a whole. That's all important. It's really the most important thing is to having that financial intelligence, to having that baseline to work off of. That's what the whole show is about, is trying to teach, to mentor, to guide you through different investment avenues. We've had some folks talking about 401ks. We've had some folks talk about budgeting. We've got so many resources out there. But I do want to make a quick point. I've been doing this show for about a month now. We've had some good success. We've had some people come on that have really helped us out. But it seems like there's so many people that are trying to keep their way of doing things a secret. Those are the people you need to avoid. Just stay away from them altogether. If they're not going to help, if they don't care to help, they're probably not doing as well as you think, to be honest with you. I'd say 80 to 90% of the people that are successful at what they do have no fear in sharing how they did it. And this is blunt, this is bold. You can say what you want about it. It's because they know most people won't do it. I can tell you every secret in the book for real estate investing. Most people won't do it. The 1 out of 100 that does it is probably going to be a good friend, a good partner. Even if they're not, I'm going to give them credit and say, hey, look, they did it. I'm happy for them because somebody helped me. I want to help other folks. That's what it comes down to. And there's too many people that are keeping the secrets. They don't want to tell anybody. I remember, and it's a friend of mine, but it's just a different mentality. I had talked to them probably about 3 years ago, and I said, hey, what do you think about doing an investing show, an investing group, so we can teach people how to do this, work together, share deals, do this? And basically this person told me, it sounds like you're giving away all your secrets. Most people aren't going to do that because they don't want you to be their competition. Some people think that way. It is what it is. I don't think that way. I want to uplift because I know I've taught folks in Hartselle and Huntsville and Decatur, Nashville. And we've talked about investing in general, especially on the real estate side, how to find deals. They're more successful. They can take care of their family. They can give to their church. They can do more of what they want to do. And not that I'm looking for that to come back, but I know it will one day. One day they're going to have a deal that they can't handle. Or one day I'm going to be in a tight spot and they're going to help me out because they understand that we're all working together. We're all trying to get better. And that's what it comes down to. So like I kind of ran on there. We're talking about single family homes. One of the biggest things that worries me with folks is on the front end, you have to make sure that you have your financing in order. There's so many different types of financing. If you have cash up front, that's great. That's the best situation possible, is to have cash up front, because if you lose the cash, you lose the cash, and that is what it is. That's your savings. That's not good, but you're not having a banker call. You're not having to go bankrupt and stuff like that. So you do have the benefit of being more flexible, having that disposable income, if you would say. Financing is so hard because most people think that it's cut and dry. I've got to have 25% down. I've got to do this and that. I've got to jump through hoops and do a backflip and do all this stuff. That's not the case. I mean, believe it or not, money is easier to find than you think. When you find property, hone your skill, learn how to negotiate, skill up like I was talking about in the first segment, at that point, people start seeking you out. Like on a daily basis, let's say weekly basis, I have somebody coming to me saying, we've got cash, we want to invest in multifamily homes, we want to invest in apartments. If you find us a deal, we'll pay you. You can partner with us, whatever the case might be. Once you're good at what you do, it's easy to find. So don't let that be the biggest fear out there. On the other side, be cautious because there are financing sharks out there. There are people that will take advantage of you. So you've got to make sure that you work with people you trust. Run that by somebody you know, because there are short-term loans that can put you in a hurt fast if you're not careful. So what I recommend is build a relationship with a local bank, whoever that local bank is. I'll give a shout out to some folks locally. Local banks have helped me tremendously because they saw, first off, I knew what I was talking about. I was going to make it work. I had to make it work. And they understood that the work ethic was behind it. They knew that I was going to put the work in. If I've got to strip the floors myself, if I've got to repair whatever myself, I will in order to make this work. It's important to have that relationship. You've got to know what's going on. So to me, the financing side, it is difficult to find that right person, but at the end of the day, it's definitely possible. So that's something you got to work with. You know, I've worked with several different local banks. We've worked with lenders from out of the area. There's good programs out there. There's money to be had if you know what you're doing. So do your research. I'll tell you this, Coleman County, and I'll give Barry Willingham a shout out on this. Mr. Willingham is a revenue commissioner here. We have the best tax assessment site, I think, in the state. And I don't know the nation, but the state, we've got the best one. We have all of the resources available. There's tons of public knowledge there that helps you become a better real estate investor. Why is that? Because you can find out what kind of deed it was. You can find out who lives there, where they live. You can use all those resources to find distressed properties, to find properties that maybe you can buy at a discounted rate because they're done. You can find out if they're out-of-state owners. I mean, there's so much knowledge, information there. Please educate yourself on if you're not in Coleman County, educate yourself on your local tax assessment site and start from there. If the site's not available, let's say that we're old school, go to the courthouse. You can look at public records. All this stuff is public and find out most of the things you need to know. That is an essential skill in investing in real estate. If you don't know how to do that, you're going to pay somebody the rest of your life while investing to do that, and you're going to miss out on great deals. So know the tax assessment site, get to know your local bankers. What else can we hit on? Know your market. I mean, there's no reason you can't call a real estate agent and ask a price. If you can watch a neighborhood, if you like a certain neighborhood, you want to invest in that area, every time you see something sold, you can go to the tax assessment site and find out how much it sold for. You can call and ask them. You can go talk to the neighbors. It's a good way to learn when you don't have the MLS access like a real estate agent. It's a good way to learn your local market, rental markets. So one of the things, I don't know that we'll get to it, but one of the things I wanted to talk about today was a BRRRR strategy. It's buy, rehab, rent, and refinance. Or refinance and rent. Sorry, I had that mixed up. So basically, you buy a house, you fix it up, you refinance it, pull the money out that you spent on it, and you rent it. What's the essential part of all of that? The last step, the rent. If the rent doesn't match up with how much you refinance for, then after the rehab, the purchase price, I mean, that's what you've got to start with the end in mind. You've got to start with rent, how much is going to rent for. And how do you find that out? By calling for rent signs, by looking up ads in the paper. There's all sorts of the shopper's guide, house for rent, Facebook Marketplace. There's so many places you can find out this information. Why wouldn't you start digging and learning? Oh, well, I never know if I'm actually going to do anything. Well, I still want to learn about it. I want to have a baseline, because if that opportunity comes, you're going to be heartbroken if you're not ready. It's better to prepare for an opportunity than it is to have that opportunity come and not be prepared for it. So that's huge. It's important to know the local market through the tax assessment, the rent, through talking to local landlords, local investors. These people are everywhere. If you start studying the tax assessment, guess what? You're going to find names that are similar. When you find those similar names, those same names on several properties, those are probably people you need to call and take out to lunch if that's what you want to do, if that's the area you want to work. If they say no and you get 9 no's and 1 yes, you got 1 yes, and that's the important side of it. So speaking of yeses, speaking of people that support, we talked about Boyle's Tax Service. We've got Cotton Home Inspections, Jacob Title. We appreciate all those folks for sponsoring us. We've also got one of the builders I work with, Dale Bales, with Bales Property Management. Now, Mr. Bales is he's a jack of all trades. He's a builder. They'll do repair work on your roof. They'll do remodels. They'll do so much for you. And they do great work. You can see them throughout town. Dale's been good to me, taking care of me as far as anything we've done, built beautiful homes for me. So if you guys are looking for a new home, if you're looking to remodel, whatever the case might be, hey, we're talking about landlords. Mr. Bales also has several properties that he rents. So he's one of those guys that are actively doing this. He's a great resource to have. So make sure you reach out to him. He's a sponsor of our show, and we appreciate you so much for that. We're coming up to the end of the break. I think we've got just another minute before we hit it. If you guys, the whole point of this show is to build that financial intelligence. Financial intelligence is the key to financial freedom. If you have questions, comments, guests you want on here, if you want to come on here and talk about your services or how you can help folks get to a better place, we want you on here. You can always give me a call at 256-708-1511 because I really do believe in helping people get to a better place. We want to help good people get to a better place on a daily basis. This is one avenue that we can do that in. Make sure you tune in for the last segment. It's going to be a short one because I've been pretty talkative over the first two. We're going to be finishing up with some single-family homes, talking about some of the negative sides, what happens when you sell it. So make sure you tune back in. Hey, everybody. Richard Neese here, the host of Your Dollars Making Sense, where we believe that financial intelligence is the key to financial freedom. We've been talking about single-family homes. We've been talking about reaching out to mentors, coaching, self-improvement, making a plan. We're challenging, inviting people on to talk about their expertise in the investment world. We want to get folks on so we can sit down and discuss what the best avenue is, and it's different for everybody. You know, if you're a younger person, you may be more aggressive. If you're an older person, you may want to be more conservative, but that's not the hard rule. I mean, you may want to be aggressive and be 85 years old and make $1 million by the time you're 86. We want to find the best avenue possible for you to make money. We want to find the best avenue possible for you to build out your retirement and live the life that you want to live and make the impact you want to make. And that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, we can talk about money, but it doesn't do. My goal isn't to have $100 million in the bank. My goal is to make the biggest impact I can, whether that's in my local community, whether it's in the state, the United States, the world. If you look at folks that are making the largest impact, usually they have 6, 7, 8, 9 figures by their bank account so they can reach more people. They can use those resources, mobilize. That's what we're after. We're after that impact, whatever that impact is. If you want to live debt-free and get to that point and then be able to coach your kids and do everything in homeschool, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. We want to support that. We can find an avenue that can make that happen. So we just got a couple minutes left. You know, we're talking about single-family homes, the benefits, something to be concerned about. So we said you need to learn the tax assessment. You need to start learning your local market. Find mentors, find bankers, find folks that can help you with the funding side so when you find the deal that you can work it out. One of the last things is you definitely need to talk to an accountant, find out, because if you find the deal, you fund the deal, you fix the deal, you sell the deal, what do you do with that money? Is it taxable? Can it not be taxable? Not the worst thing, a bad thing would be to make a lot of money in real estate, go spend it, pay off bills, do whatever you're going to do. Personally, and then have a tax liability 10 times what you thought it was going to be. That's going to put you in a world of hurt pretty quick. So you got to have the whole process in mind once you get that. I use Christy Boyles of Boyles Tax Service. We've been using it for about a year now, and she's been excellent. I mean, she has helps us with bookkeeping. If you've got a small business, this is a lady you want to give a call. She's on West Main, on the south part of town. She does a great job with my storage units, with the rentals, with all the stuff that we have going on. And she's just a good person in general. So we appreciate Christy for being a sponsor on our show from Boyles Tax Service. Make sure you guys give them a call, look them up. So one thing that we talked about last week was investing in yourself. And I've kind of hit on this today with the mentor side. Investing in yourself is the most important thing. And then once you've achieved a level of success, or even before you think you've achieved that, make sure you invest in others. There's such an opportunity. There's so many people that are looking for mentors, and maybe they're a little bit shy. Maybe they hadn't quite got to that point yet. Don't be afraid to share what you know. It's a closed-minded way of thinking, and it may get you success on the short end. I'm not asking you to give trade secrets, but there's so many things that you can help. And I know that there's been many, many folks that have given me small bits of advice or given me the hard truth sometimes as far as investing goes and said, you need to stay in your lane. I know this sounds like a great opportunity. Stay in your lane. Sometimes that hurts, but there's good folks out there. Make sure that you are one of those good folks. Make sure you're one of those people that gives back, that gives a hand up and not a hand out. Give them the opportunity to learn and grow and make mistakes, but also help folks. I mean, help folks in general by giving them some advice, by taking them by the hand and saying, hey, we can work this deal together. Doing things like that, small things. Hey, I found this great book. Maybe you should read it. There's so many things that you can do, little things that could change a person's life. And it goes back to the impact part that we were talking about. Impact is so important. So we started this show about a month ago. We appreciate you guys supporting us. We're rolling out the podcast. Within the next week, we'll have those podcasts. We're on Facebook. We're so thankful for the outreach that we've had for all the folks that are listening. If that's 2 of you or 2,000, thank you so much. All we're doing is we're looking to find a way to help good people get to a better place and to make a difference in the world. And that's what we want to do. Thank you guys so much for listening today. If there's a topic you want to talk about, you can always give us a call. You can always send us a Facebook message. Call the station up here. We want to try and help any way we can. This show's about you. We want to give you the information you're looking for, you're hungry for. I don't mind taking you out to lunch or whatever, sitting down and discussing this stuff, but we want to help as many folks as we can. So if you have a question, there's 100 people that have the same question. Please contact us, reach out. Thank you so much to all our sponsors, Jacob Title, Cotton Home Inspection, Bales Property Management, Home Building, Boyles Tax Service. We really appreciate you guys helping us make this happen and making a difference in the community. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. I know today we're kicking off some football. The first week, I think that's Florida-Miami game. Make sure you tune in next week, Saturday, 10 a.m., and just follow us. You can follow us on Facebook at WKOL. You can follow us. We actually have it on my personal page that we shared across on Richard Neese. If you can't get a friend request in, you can always follow us and see first. Thank you so much for all the support. I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Thanks again for listening to Your Dollars Making Sense. Remember, financial intelligence is the key to your financial freedom.